Be encouraged, Commanders fans. I mean, be encouraged by the season that you had. What an awesome, fun time it was watching you. I will admit, as you know, we are Lions fans. You see the Hutch jersey in the background. Got the Lions helmet right here. Barry Sanders stuff. But we love teams that are naturally kind of more ignored by the national media. Commanders fall in this camp, and it isn't because they're a small market team or anything like that. It's just because they play in the division with the Cowboys, which is dumb. So we love talking about the Commanders. You'll never see a Cowboys video on here. We don't do the Eagles either. We don't do the Giants, right? We don't do those teams. We love talking about the Commanders. So here's the question I have for you. After the loss to the Eagles, right, in the NFC Championship, all the hopes were there. How long did it take you to get over that loss? Are you over it yet? Here we are. It's Tuesday. Maybe you're watching this on a Wednesday. How long did it take you to get over that loss? I can only speak for myself. I know it took me a little minute to get over the loss to you as a Lions fan. But there are so many things that it's kind of an interesting take on this that remind me of the Detroit Lions about this team. But I'm going to tell you some really encouraging, some really good news that you have going into next year. And I don't think you realize how well this team is set up for success. We started covering this team over a year ago. All right. First off, when they drafted Jaden Daniels, we're like, let's go. Right. That was part of it. But we were in this before that anyway. And a big reason is we saw a lot of talent. We thought Dan Quinn was a great hire. I thought Adam Peters was a great hire. Then you drafted the right quarterback. I expected this team to be really good in 2025. I expected this team to be better than everybody thought in 2024. I don't know if I expected 12-5, 2 playoff victories, and all that kind of stuff good. And I don't know if you're being honest with yourself if you saw it either. But you got the best quarterback in the draft, and you got the best head coach in the coaching cycle. So let's look at this team, and let's look at a couple of the really big things. So we're going to look at some quotes. But before we do that, I want to get into my nerdy offseason stuff. And if you want nerdy offseason stuff, this is the channel for you because I love free agency. I love salary cap. I love talking about what that looks like. NFL draft. Just those are the kind of things that really, really make me happy. They do. I love talking about football after the season almost as much as I do during the season. So let's look at your salary cap situation. Next year, you have a whopping $90 million, almost $91 million. That is third in the NFL. That is paying a lot of your really good players. Your Daron Payne, Terry McLaurin, Jonathan Allen. These guys are getting the bag. And you can even decide with Allen, you have a decision to make, right? Do you pay him $22 million or do you save $16 million by cutting him? Like, there are so many little decisions. Marshawn Lattimore, $18 million? Up to you. But you have $91 million left even with all that. Frankie Louvu, Cosme, Wiley, Armstrong, Biotish, Jaden Daniels, right? And you have Jaden Daniels at that low price for a very long time. You have guys on rookie contracts that were absolutely contributing to the team this year. That's what you have. Of course, we'll get into talking about free agents and all that kind of stuff. But going into next year, you have a lot of money. You have draft picks. I don't see this team getting less talented. In fact, I see this team, usually teams that have this much room are teams that didn't sniff the playoffs. They didn't even sniff the playoffs. All right? And you're sitting here saying, "No, we got this." Like, we were in the playoffs. We were 1 win away from the Super Bowl. And you have this kind of room. These are the teams that get better. So I want to make this comparison again. Detroit Lions, Washington Commanders. All right? Last year, the Detroit Lions were coming off a 9-8 season, and people expected them to be better. They were. They went 12-5. They had 2 home games where they beat the Rams, which was awesome because we got to go beat Matt Stafford. Then They beat the Buccaneers, and they eventually lost to the San Francisco 49ers, who were just a team that was a little further along in the process than them. Washington Commanders, same thing. You win 2 playoff games. Yours were on the road, which was even more impressive. And then you go and you say, okay, you lose to an Eagles team, which, hate to say it, is just a little further along in the process. You have the better quarterback. There was just more talent on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive line for the Eagles than there was for the Commanders. It's really that simple. But now you have more draft picks and $91 million to make up that gap. And no, you're not. Follow the process is what my big thing is here. Don't kill yourself with a bunch of massive contracts. Just increase talent. Don't throw all this money away on no apparent reason. But the Detroit Lions, that following year, after going 12-5, they had almost 70, 80 million in cap space because they were ahead of the curve. So they locked down a lot of their long-term players, but they brought in smart stuff. They didn't go nuts in free agency. They went 15-2. Yes, I know we ended up losing to your Commanders. Our entire defense got hurt throughout the course of the year, right? So that's what you get to build on here when you're talking about both salary cap and free agency and through the draft. Your opportunity now is to build depth, and that is a really, really good thing. Not to mention that you have some really good quotes here, all right? You have some good quotes from your staff that understand what's going on. All right, Quinn opens by saying, our team has a lot going for it. He also added that the team earned some scars last night and will learn from them. Yes, you will. You will come back more hungry. I promise you that. When you have a guy like Dan Quinn, that's how it works. All right, he said, you don't know who you are as a team until you get some scars. Now we've got some. I love this. Peters goes on and says exactly what he needs to say. He's talking about how he's really proud of this team and what they did and this group of men. Just really thankful for them and how much work they put in. Disappointing ending, but very grateful for everybody. Look, there's an understanding of this is a good team, but we have a little ways to go. And they do. This, when you look at this roster top to bottom, it's not bad. Sorry, battling a little bit of a cold here. It's not bad at all, right? I mean, look at this thing. It's not a bad roster. But is it a 12-5 NFC Championship roster? I don't know. So you get to build, you get to get better, and we'll be here for every bit of it. Thanks. See you on the next one.